welcome to healthyhouseplants.com, where we teach you all about gardening in the great indoors. Today's video is sponsored by our Amazon affiliate link. You can see the link below in the comments section. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about a real common question I have from viewers and readers, and that is about brown leaf tips. And you can see a brown leaf tip on the end of this Dracaena. Dracaenas are notorious, actually, for getting brown leaf tips. I have some other plants here, too. Same issue. Here's another one. More brown leaf tips, as you can see. Actually, quite a few brown leaf tips on this guy. So, they are unsightly, and people get upset for good reason. So, I'm going to talk about what causes them and how to prevent them. Okay, so for the first thing that causes brown leaf tips is uneven watering or the plant's sensitivity to certain substances in the water, such as chlorine, fluoride, or sodium. So starting with uneven watering, we've all done this. You're doing pretty good, you're watering your plant on a regular basis, just what your plant needs, and then all of a sudden life happens, right? Like you get busy, you don't water it for a long time, it's dry, you water it a lot, you're going on a trip, so you're going to water it a little before than you think you should water it, and you're watering it when it's a little too wet, and then you can see where we're going here. So it's that the most consistency you can have in terms of watering, the better. Now that doesn't mean every Thursday you have to water, but what it does mean is watering that plant when that plant actually needs water, which is going to vary according to the seasons, for one. So just keep that in mind, trying to be as consistent as you can. If you water your Dracaena, which Dracaenas like to do when it's just about dry, and you always water when it's just about dry, then that'll be great. But if you wait until it's really, really dry, and sometimes you don't, that will cause the brown leaf tips. Now, I also mentioned chlorine, fluoride, and sodium. So you've probably heard of this, you can let water sit overnight for 24 hours or so, and chlorine will dissipate out of the water. However, that doesn't work for fluoride and it doesn't work for sodium. And those are, sodium is naturally occurs in water, and fluoride is put in water for teeth decay prevention. So those are two minerals that will build up in your plant soil, and they will cause the brown leaf tips. What happens is the plant, in an attempt to get that sodium or fluoride out, and chlorine if it's in there, out of its system, will push those minerals to the very tips of the plant. So that's how they end up browning. And if you think about it, it's a lot better to have it at the tips of your plants, right, than to have it further down. When there is a really bad buildup, however, in the soil of any of those minerals, it will occur all the way down the leaf as well, or start to do that. So solutions for that is letting the water sit overnight for the chlorine. However, if you want to be especially careful with all of that, using distilled or reverse osmosis water is very helpful in preventing the leaf tip burn from those problems. Okay, so another thing, overfeeding, fertilizing with chemical fertilizers that are very strong. Chemical fertilizers have a lot of salts, a high salt content in them. So you have that salt buildup problem. Okay, so I tend to use my Green Gourmet houseplant food. I also use other organic foods. So you want to look for an organic fertilizer that has a low NPK ratio. That's a number that you'll find on some packages. So for instance, a 5-5-5, a 5-4-5, 10-10-10 is usually about the highest you're going to go and still be organic. So doing that will really help. This guy that I did show you I left some of the tips on here so you could see, but I did recently repot him. He was one that I'd taken a lot of strays. Another rescue, and he was looking a lot worse. So I just recently, what's the date on here? Did I not put the date on here? Anyway, it was about 2 weeks ago that I repotted him. He's already looking better, and I am sure that he had been burned from chemical fertilizer. It was my guesstimation on that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Now, another thing is overly dry air. So that's when the heater goes on in your house or the air conditioning goes on, especially if the plant is near a heating or air conditioning duct. Of course, it's more common in certain times of the year. And if you live in a really dry climate, such as the Southwest, you will also tend to have problems with this. Now, there's things you can do. I have a video on creating a humidity tray. You can see right here the humidity tray. You can put marbles in there, gravel. This has both in there. What you do is you fill this up to just below the surface of the gravel or marbles or river rock or whatever you want to use. That works better for larger plants and larger catch pots as this is. And you put the water just below the surface, and what happens is it will evaporate and humidify the air around the plant. Also misting 2, 3, 4 times a day, as much as the plant likes. That's another thing. Use something with a very, very fine mist. Putting the plants together. So grouping plants. The more plants you have together, the higher the humidity around those plants will be. Because what happens is plants transpire. Whereas we perspire, plants transpire. When they transpire, they let off humidity. So then, and by doing that, they are making themselves drier. But if they're grouped next to another buddy, a plant buddy, that plant buddy will give them the moisture they need, so they don't lose so much humidity. So you'll a lot of times you'll find especially in a dry area, if you have a plant that's all by itself, it will tend to be more likely to get the brown leaf tips because it's so dry. So the more plants, the merrier. I always like that one. So one other thing that can be a problem going for your plant is incorrect soil pH. So the soil pH is that the acidic to alkaline, with 7 on the scale being neutral. And next month I will be doing a video on checking the soil pH in your houseplant soil because this is definitely a problem. So if your soil pH is off for that plant, and all plants need a different type of pH or a different range, then what happens is that can also cause the plant not to be able to take up the nutrients that it needs or dispel the nutrients that it needs correctly, and that will also create brown leaf tips. Okay, so once you've determined what the problem is and you're going to rectify the problem to make yourself and the plant feel better, you can also go ahead and cut off the brown leaf tips. The plant looks a lot better. You'll feel a lot better when you do that, and you won't have such of an eyesore going on here. So you can just cut them off like this at just square across, or if you want to get creative, especially with the larger leaves, what you want to do with those, you can see here, is you can go ahead and shape the leaf. I'll show you up close here. So it takes a little precision here. Probably not the best right now, but I will work on it a little bit more. But you can see, and I didn't really do much of a point, so I'm going to probably go in and do a little bit more of a point. But you can do that. You can go ahead and trim them, and that makes them look a lot better as well. And it's also really good to do so that going forward, as you make the adjustments that we've discussed, you can see if you get any new brown leaf tips. So if you've taken off all the brown leaf tips and you get more brown leaf tips, you know what's going on. A lot of times new soil is really called for. So even if you suspect it's the water, you might want to consider just repotting in a good mix that is devoid of the salts that have potentially built up or the other minerals that have built up in the soil as you move forward with a different watering system as well. So that is about it today for what is causing brown leaf tips. Thank you for stopping by. Please leave any comments about any indoor gardening tutorials you'd like to see. And remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video.